We're going to talk about how to prep for the call. That's the first thing we're going to talk about, and I need your feedback on this. We're going to talk about the ability to create a masterful customer needs analysis, which we're going to dive into even deeper in 2 weeks. And we're going to talk about the ability to present and close. So, one of my favorite quotes that we use in my office is, under pressure, you do not rise to the occasion, rather you sink to your level of training. I want everybody to take out a piece of paper and write down why you work here, and it can't be money, because money is a byproduct. So take out a piece of paper and write down why you work here. We are really, really good at this company, guys, in telling you the how. We tell you how to sell the product, how to pitch the product, how to talk about the product, how to talk to the customer, how we get the customer's information, how we landscape the customer. But what we don't talk about, and it's the most important thing, is why. So to get a prospect's attention, you have to be the most interesting person in the world. I would love to hear examples from you guys of what you do to get a prospect's attention, other than sending them an email. You can go to FedEx quietly, it's free. You just grab a bunch of FedEx envelopes. They don't actually charge you for the envelope until you mail something. And then you just walk out the front door. And you put your seed in the FedEx envelope, and then you go to Lee Johnson Chevrolet and say, this is for Bob. How many of you have ever thrown out a FedEx envelope that you've gotten? 0 of you. YouTube yourself. Send a link from YouTube to a client. Now you have to go do the most important meeting you will ever do, which is called customer needs analysis. The customer needs analysis. Some things to talk about. Where do you sit? Say, do you mind if I just pull my chair around like this? Now we're aligned. I think the environment is so important. If you can do it here, that's great. It's always better on our turf. If it is there, the one suggestion I would give you guys is, it's a very elegant white glove way of telling them not to take any calls. If you just take your cell phone out and say, I'm going to turn my cell phone off just so we don't get interrupted during the meeting, and then set it down, it's a white glove way of telling them maybe you shouldn't take any calls. Ask for all the players and influencers to join in. So Bilal brought this point up yesterday. He said, Nick, my biggest problem is I do the presentation, they say I got to talk to so-and-so. That's a miss on the CNA. The CNA is your opportunity to say, hey, I know you're the big cheese, Rob. You make the decisions, but surely you bounce ideas off of other people in the office. Who might some of those people be? Explain what's about to happen, why and how long it will take. What's going to happen today is a deep business dive on you. Now, I've done my research. This is what I know. Is this all correct? And it shows you did your homework, right? Ask for their permission to consult them. Something I learned from one of my mentors. Do I have your permission to sort of give you some suggestions where I see I can help? So this is how I start off. Do I have your permission today? Again, to consult you. Yeah? Okay, great. Let's move on. That's it. Then I move on. Very quick question. Does that look like the first slide of any media presentation you're going to see out there in the marketplace? Absolutely not. So when you go buy a car, this is the stake. What kind of engine does it have? That's the sticker. What kind of brakes? Does it have power everything? And how much does it cost? That's all you get from the sticker. But why do you buy the car? Nobody buys a car off a sticker. They get you in a test drive. And that's the sizzle. So for those of you that think, I just show how many commercials we run versus the competitor, and I show my cost per point versus the competitor, I'll win. It's not enough. You've got to give them a test drive. There has to be energy. There has to be sizzle. Every presentation, if it had these 6 steps, would close. Number 1, get the client saying, me too, not so what. 2, clear reasons why. This is your logic. This is the sticker. Bob, today I am going to ask you for $57,462. And over the next 17 minutes, I'm going to justify why it's worth way more than that. Anticipate and attack likely objections. This is called attack and confess. Hey, Bob, you may be thinking, I've tried this before. I've heard that from a lot of clients. Let me talk to you about what they've done in the past, why it didn't work, and how you can make it work. Create the hell if they don't buy. Infomercials do a great job of this. Why do we buy crap from infomercials over the years? Because they do a really good job of showing it in black and white. Do you feel tired? Do you feel lazy and overweight? Well, let me show you this new diet product, and then all of a sudden it's in color and people are in great shape. You can create the heaven. But if you do this, here's what you'll get. Lastly, it seems intuitive to ask for action, but oftentimes we go, so that's what I got today. What do you think? 3 pegs to the advertising stool. Anybody in the history of radio advertising or digital advertising or any advertising succeeds or fails based on these 3 things. Are you talking to enough people? Are you talking to them enough times? And is the story you're telling a compelling story? So what's all of this going to cost you? I use this all the time. Many of you have seen this slide. If you implement as advised, Bob, Sally, whoever you're talking to, it's going to cost $0.00. And here's what happens in a presentation when you show this slide. They laugh. And then you laugh. And then you both kind of nod and you both get it. I attacked and confessed an objection. Effective marketing. You invest in a short ad campaign that is bolstered in the beginning. And then it levels off. It only has to be hardcore for that first 12 months, and then it maintains. So you get to this level right here where they understand who the brand is. That way, when you're ready to drive in a call to action, now I'm driving the market from way up here. I don't have to start at 0 every time again. So I'm asking for the business. We said we need to ask for action. Jim was talking about that. What does that look like tactically? How do you feel about the program? That's how I start the closing process. How do you feel about everything, Bob? Not what do you think of it. How do you feel about it? What do you think? I get a logical response. Well, I think it's too expensive. How do you feel? Well, I feel good or I feel bad. And then I can address what those good or bad feelings are. Did you understand all the components of the program? Did it make sense to you? Next step is a written partnership before we finalize the creative process. So this is exactly what Jim was talking about. Next step is I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. You're going to make some phone calls to so-and-so, and then we get the creative going. So you're moving the needle forward. If they're hemming and hawing on cost, if I asked you for $3 today and gave you $5 back on Sunday, would you take that deal? Yeah, of course you would. Great. That's what this is. I'm asking you for $3. I'll give you back $5. It's going to take 52 weeks. You seem like a smart business owner. Most successful business owners that I talk to invest in programs like this. You seem like one of those types of people. It all comes down to belief. If you forget everything else, we talked about it. If you don't figure out what your why is, and I'm not going to make you turn in your piece of paper. That's Luna. Yeah. If you don't figure out your why, you're just not going to do the stuff we talked about.